So my field in survey methodology, what we look at is what are the best ways to get the highest response rates, get people to respond to our surveys, have questions that they can answer, that they can understand, that are questionnaires that are easy to complete if they have to complete them themselves, self-administered questionnaires. Even data processing, how to process the data in such a way that we don't introduce any errors, and in fact we take out some of the errors that are in the data. So all of those things fit into the rubric of survey methodology, but my specific area is called non-sampling error. It's a type of error that doesn't involve the samples that we draw, but rather everything else in the survey process, be it the interviewers, the respondents, the questionnaire, non-response, the way that the list that we use to draw the samples, which are called sampling frames, all of those things are studied in the rubric under non-sampling error. So we really try very, very hard to get everyone's cooperation that's in the sample, and also to try to get very accurate data from them. And that takes, there's a lot of science involved in that. We, like I say, you can't just look at data and tell whether it's right or wrong on the face of it. There's some sophisticated statistical analysis that can be done to try to determine how accurate it is. But at first glance, it may look perfectly well because all the questions are answered and they're answered consistently. And you really don't know whether this particular respondent might be making up this information or is actually providing valid, truthful data. So that's the dilemma here. And so it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of knowledge to figure out how to get the right responses in the first place, but that's not always possible, of course. So then after the fact, then we run it through some analysis to try to find out where it may be erroneous, and then what we can do after the fact to make corrections on that, so then what we finally publish, what are the estimates that we finally publish, are reliable estimates and people can really believe. Yeah, I mean, we're sort of like a firewall, I guess you could say. We're sort of there to protect the public from false information. So once it leaves RTI or it leaves some survey organization and it's being published, it's almost too late then. It's sort of like the cat's out of the bag, and people will, for example, the unemployment numbers. You can imagine how much attention is being given just to the employment rate or other financial indicators, economic indicators that are being published. A lot of those are produced from survey data. So if we make errors in those, the stock market could move dramatically, and if that's, and that would be a dramatic impact on the economy to have that happen. So that's why, particularly at the national level, when we're producing data for the federal government, we have to make sure that what's being produced is highly accurate, because people take the information and they make decisions on it, and sometimes those decisions are very difficult to recall once the data are out there.